What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Champion Living Podcast, where we believe that consistency, perseverance, and not taking life too seriously are the keys to success. I'm Doug, the founder and owner and head coach of Champion Living Fitness. Each week, I'll be joined by my coaching staff with the vision of providing trustworthy information about fitness, nutrition, and mindset, and how this all applies to being a professional rodeo athlete, as well as people from all walks of life. Are you ready to become a champion? Let's go.
You're talking about summer being in full swing. It is in full effect. Rodeo and is picked up to 110%. I was talking to Richie yesterday. I talked to him all weekend. They're doing the whole Canadian Trail right now.
He's winning Pinoca, I think.
I think Oren. No, I think you're right. I think Richie is winning.
I think
Pinoca,
he's splitting the lead right now. Yeah. Did they have a short round at Pinoca today?
Yeah, it's today at 1 o'clock. Yeah. Sorry, yeah. I'm all over the board. But I messaged Oren. I was just messing with him on his Instagram story the other day on his interview with Alicia for the go-round win, and I just wrote, loaded. He did not respond to it. And so I called Richie, and I was like, make sure you tell him when you see him next. I was serious. I was not kidding at all.
Oh, that's so funny.
But anyway, sorry. You're talking about nothing's the same. Routine's out of whack. Nutrition's out of whack. I was talking, again, with Rich and him, Bennett, Trevor McAllister. They're all running around up there together. But they did 24 hours from Pinoca to Williams Lake, BC. Literally photo finish to get on. An hour, 30 minutes before the rodeo is going to start. They're taping up. They get on. Richie is winning third when they leave. Bennett's winning it with an 88. They drive 23 hours back to Pinoca to do the short round today. It's, dude, talk about being out of whack. Talk about external stressors. Like, we are we haven't even hit the thick of it, but it's there. It's definitely a wake-up call for everyone that's in it right now. And we were talking about, on the other side of things, they're so busy. It feels like guys feel like they're getting behind when they're not winning. When they're not drawing well, or they're going through a little bit of a rough patch with drawing. And I've been having to remind them, guys, it's freaking July 1st. Let's talk July. Let's talk after Cheyenne. If we're having the same issues, then maybe there's a little time to panic.
Exactly right.
But we have a lot of time here. And how many times have we seen guys win $50,000 or $60,000 in the month from August to September? We see it all the time.
Damian Brennan last year. Damian Brennan won $130,000 from Calgary to September 30th.
Yeah.
I mean, that's you know what I'm saying? It's really, this is fun. This is fun rodeo, or it should be. If it's not fun, you probably should find something else to do. This time of year is fun because you're like, man, you're going, and this money counts. It does count, and it's important. But the real money, in my opinion, comes in August and September. Who can be healthy, happy, hungry? And August and September, those guys are those are the guys that go to the finals, not always the guys that win Houston or win, you know what I'm saying, win the early rodeos or even have the biggest cowboy Christmas. Really, it comes into the last part of the month. But I finally found that, hey, I don't want to change on the stress thing. Like, I finally found one of the things that we've known for a while is helpful for stress is ashwagandha. Weed. And that too. But I finally found a supplement.
Isn't ashwagandha horny goat weed? Isn't that the common name for it?
I think that might be. It's
they're
like
different things.
It's not. They're like cousins, I think, though.
Tyler, look us up. Let's hear it.
We got to find this one out. I don't think they're the same.
Anyway, sorry. Ashwagandha is awesome. I love it.
Yeah,
it's a great supplement.
The issue is that everything that so most supplements that are like have ashwagandha in them, it's in some sort of proprietary blend, and you really don't know how much you're getting, or if it's not in a proprietary blend, it's like 100 milligrams. You really can't overdose on ashwagandha, and it's going to take like 1,500 milligrams to be able to start to get the effects of it. So that stuff that just has enough of it in there to give you, like, to put it on the label, like, it's not really going to. Is it better than nothing? Maybe, but it's not really going to do much for you. You know what I'm saying? However, the other day I finally found one. It has 2,100 milligrams. and it's a 60-day dose, and it was like $35, and it's just straight ashwagandha. Cool. Like in a
what brand is
man, I'll need to freaking text Lacey.
Where'd you find? Like, was it on Amazon or something?
Yeah, it was on Amazon. It was like hidden on Amazon. It took me a minute to like digging and scrolling and trying to find it, but it was affordable. And so I did like I tried to find something similar to an Adrenal Restore, and I found one that had some of the good stuff that I liked about Adrenal Restore in there. And then I found that thing for ashwagandha, and I bought both of them, and I just started that last week because of the fact that summer schedule, I'm having a hard time getting up before 8 a.m. You know what I'm saying? Because we're up late at night, or we're tearing down arenas and not consistently working out. Nutrition's fair, cheeseburgers sometimes, and life is just feeling like chaos here lately. And so I was like, I need to manage my stress. Otherwise, we're going to get to the end of the summer, and I'm going to be a train wreck. Like, it's going to take me all winter just to feel like I'm leveling back out to normal. So at any rate, I was really excited that I found one that I felt like had an appropriate dose. It's see if I can.
It's really important though, because I'd say a large majority of the supplements that are available out there for consumption have all of the good things in them, but they don't have near around the effective dosage to be effective for you, right? So it's almost counterintuitive. You're just pissing money down the drain at that point. Yes, you're putting those things in, which is good, but if we're not getting the proper amounts, are you really reaping the benefits or as much benefits as you could? And then we start talking about the absorption levels. There's all kinds of studies out there about the body's ability to absorb pills. What's the liquids like? They call it liposomal. I'm sorry, I'm blanking on the terminology. I just was looking at this. There's a company called Row Supplements, RHO, and I was looking at their science that they'd put out on their liposomal supplements. So everything they have is liquid. You mix it in with a drink, and they claim that the absorption levels are far exceeding than just taking it capsules, right? And then they know that the best way to absorb things is through an IV, intravenously. Yep. Vitamins, IVs are awesome for getting that in. And athletes out there, like right now, sweating hard. It's hot. Like I saw those Texas rodeos. I saw you guys. Their shirts were different colors, and I remember those days and how dehydrated a guy gets. And if you have the funds available and the means to, does Logan have a secretary now? What?
Yeah, sorry. What? It's not my secretary. It's my wife. It's the same thing, but not really. But like the secretary talks back. I can't fire her.
That's me, probably for the better.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
But yeah, hot rodeos. Check out IV services around you. And I know my wife just started a concierge IV service for the company called Modwella, and they're all over the United States. So if you're around and need one, look up the company, and they can send a nurse literally to the camper. Done. I think it's $200 for them to come out there and do the IV, get all the vitamins, and you are recharged, ready to go. I know a bunch of the guys used her in Derby here during the Riggin rally, and we're talking about just how much they didn't realize how dehydrated they actually were until they had it done. Holy crap! This is why I've been feeling so tired and fatigued and just drained. Dude, you guys have been rodeoing hard, and you're not drinking enough water. You're not eating like you usually do. You're not sleeping in a normal environment, so stress is going to accumulate, and we always talk about eating whole foods, right? It's our number one way to get our vitamins and minerals in, but supplements are made for times like these to supplement your routine and your diet in the times where it's not going to be a routine. You're off. Everything is different, but these supplements can help a lot. Just a real quick disclaimer. We are not doctors. So before you start taking supplements, you need to talk to a doctor if you have any questions about them. We are strictly giving our recommendations for what we use personally and have seen good results with. The list is not very long, but we're going to deep dive onto why we use these and why they're important. Go ahead. What do you got on the ashwagandha?
It's natural life, and it's just straight. It is just straight organic ashwagandha powder, 1,050 milligrams, organic ashwagandha root extract, 1,050 milligrams, and 8 milligrams of black pepper extract. So it's literally, that's the 3 ingredients in the whole thing.
What did we find out about horny goat weed? That's the biggest
thing when you're looking.
It's barren wort.
Okay. Different things.
The plant.
Different things.
Different things.
I noticed they use them together a lot, though.
Oh, okay.
I see a lot of stuff with ashwagandha and
I know it's been a couple of years, but I know we did like a whole episode on like I think adaptogens and mushrooms and stuff.
Dude,
but like
did you
that's
see
a
that
whole
study I sent you?
That's a Yes, the
That was
cordyceps
what?
one. Yeah,
Yes.
I'm really excited about that. So I thought about that when Logan brought up the ashwagandha thing, because cordyceps is like one of my favorite. It's the one that I feel the most.
I feel them too.
So adaptogens adaptogens are a gray area because we don't have a whole lot of human studies on them yet. But Doug sent us the other day, there was a post. There is now a human study on cordyceps, and they took 500 milligrams 2 times a day, and they found that it accelerated stem cell recruitment in skeletal muscle after high intensity exercise.
Ooh.
So I thought that was really interesting, because not only like I feel cognitive benefits when I take cordyceps, but there's also like a muscular,
but notice the dosage. You know what I mean? That was
exactly.
1,000 milligrams a day.
1,000 milligrams a day.
That's important. And a lot of times, there's a couple different companies out there that I've messed with that have, and one of them's ATH, and they just have, it's just called shrooms. And it's a different blend of like lion's mane, cordyceps, like a handful, but you really just get like the bare minimum of all the things. And I think that there's a human study on that now. It would be better to find like a straight cordyceps supplement that's not going to have some sort of proprietary blend. It's not going to have some sort of like mix of all the things, and make sure that you're getting that decent dosage of cordyceps to be able to get that. I've thought that mushrooms are one of the things that are probably lacking in a lot of our supplements, like a good dosage, because of all the effects. And it's one of those things that like people have been using for thousands of years. And so, not to go super witch doctor here, but I do think that there's something to it. And it's nice to see that now we've got some human studies. And
the interesting thing, I'm going to butcher it. I'm trying to look it up so I don't mess it up. But there's 2 types of cordyceps. There's cordyceps sinensis and then militaris. And I've read more about like the benefits of the militaris one. So I need to dive deeper and find out, because that study was I'm probably saying that wrong, but I don't remember exactly what the difference is. I think it might be something to do with like the way it's grown or something, because from what I read earlier on was like the militaris is hard to get because it only grows in certain environments and stuff like that, and it has to come from a
have a
certain
Tyler
spore.
for this.
We do have a Tyler
for this. So Tyler needs to look that up.
Speaking of a secretary,
I watched him. He heard you start saying that word. He's, oh shit, I gotta go
look at this up.
What does this mean?
Let me look this up.
But that result, because of the exclusivity of it, like it results in it's pricey, and so that goes back to why a lot of supplement companies don't include the right dose, because it's really expensive. If you were to get a supplement that was just cordyceps that gave you 1,000 milligrams a day, you're probably spending a couple $100 a month on that supplement. And so then they add in these proprietary blends where they add in the lion's mane or ashwagandha, and they reduce the serving size on all of them, and they can sell it to you cheaper.
Yep.
I think it's also a marketing scheme where they're saying all of these things are in there so we can include all of the benefits from them, even though you're not getting the proper dosage. So it's really not going to work that way.
I typically stay away from anything that has a proprietary blend in it. I think that's a pretty good rule of thumb. If you don't know, it has a whole bunch of ingredients in that proprietary blend, and it just gives you the amount of milligrams of the proprietary blend. It doesn't tell you how many milligrams of each typically you're getting.
No, and
it's just exactly consistent. Right. It's just it seems to be money wasted on anything with a proprietary blend. And that's where a lot of times when I'm looking at supplements and I want to try something new, like the first thing I look for on Amazon or in the store, I always flip it over and go to the label and I look at what's actually in here. And if I see a proprietary blend, chances are I'm putting it back on the shelf immediately.
Yeah.
That's it. That was the one thing that, okay, cool. I'm not interested in that. I want something that's actually going to give me the right amount of dosage.
Absolutely. You got to do your research. If you want to take these things, you need to look up proper doses for them in your body weight and all of the things. It just takes a little bit of research and a little bit of manpower to figure it out. But like we're saying, you can't just trust a supplement company to put the proper amount of whatever they're making in there, because chances are they really don't care about that. They're in it to make the money, and that's what's going on, and that's why, like you said, it's cheaper to put the smaller amounts in there and say it's in there than to use it. So let's dive into some recommendations for people, and we'll for recovery, pre-workout, stress management, all the things. So let's start with, I always like starting with creatine, man. Creatine is like my number one go-to supplement if I'm going to recommend it to somebody. The creatine it's the most studied supplement on the planet. Has nothing but good things from what I've read. But to keep it real simple, I think everyone, when they think about creatine, thinks about getting bigger, right? And you're not necessarily going to get bigger, but it is used to increase mass, increase strength. The biggest thing I like about this supplement for rodeo athletes is the energy systems. So when we start talking about rodeo, high intensity for 8 seconds, we use creatine, CP, phosphate to fuel that. So having creatine in the system is only going to help your performance in the arena because you are actually supplying your body with enough of that fuel source to burn and perform. What do you guys? I know Paul loves creatine, so let's hear it, Paul.
So I want to address the main concern that most people have with creatine is, it makes you retain water weight. And yes and no. So yes, you do retain water, not in the way that most people think, though. So like I've heard several people say I've taken creatine before and I just get huge, and no, you didn't. Like you're going to retain about 2% of your current body weight in water. So if you're 150 pounds, you might gain 3 pounds, maybe. Probably not even that much, but that's just initially. And then it does set up the environment for you to build muscle more easily, but there still is a lot of other ingredients that have to happen in order for you to actually gain muscle. So creatine is not going to just magically make you big. No. Like you can get that out of the way. But as far as dosage, there's 2 different ways to go about this. There's one now that most people are leaning on, and that's just 5 grams a day, every day. Don't skip a day. Go 5 grams a day every day. You'll reach full muscle saturation at about day 21, and then you're now getting the full benefits of creatine. If you wanted to get those benefits a little bit sooner, the old way was to do a loading phase. And some people still do that. You can still do this. It's not going to hurt you in any way, shape, or form, but that's 20 grams a day for about 5 days or about a week. And then you'll reach that full saturation at the end of that loading phase, and then you just continue with the 5 grams a day after that.
Pretty simple.
You need to drink water with creatine. That is something that you also have to do because you are retaining more water. It does tend to dehydrate you a little bit, and it can be, again, I don't know if there's like human studies on this, but there's like a lot of people, one of the other misconceptions is that it's bad for your kidneys, and it's not that creatine is bad for your kidneys, it's that being dehydrated is bad for your kidneys. So drink water.
Yep.
And that should be for all around. Everyone needs to be drinking water, regardless if you're
drinking water, regardless of whether you're on creatine or not. I think it's important to just note really quick that when we're talking about this water weight, we're not talking about bloat. You're not going to gain 3 pounds of water in your belly. The muscles become more saturated, right? They become really. You're like, a lot of times you're going to look maybe a little bit more full in your muscles, not like a bloat here. We're not talking about, I got 3 pounds of water weight packing around. But I do think that like creatine is a supplement that all rodeo athletes should be taking, really, if you have any kind of aesthetic goals, for sure. But it's amazing to me, the misconceptions about it's going to make me too big. One of the things that I heard when I was 19 was that Tom McFarlane was one of my idols, bareback rider. And I heard through the grapevine that he took creatine and he tore his bicep. And so it made your muscles really tight. And so I stayed away from creatine for the next 12 years. You know what I'm saying? We just hear those kind of things through the grapevine,
100%.
and we're like, I'm out on that. And so, but the reason that Doug was talking about the energy system, it's very important. We always are going to stress real food if possible. Only use supplements if you have to. And so in order for you to get the equivalent creatine through your diet, you would have to have 5 pounds, I think, of red meat a day.
Yep.
So unless you're Liver King, that's just not happening. And it's certainly not happening if you're on the rodeo trail, without a doubt. It doesn't happen for me if I'm at home or on the trail. And so that's why supplementing with creatine is helpful for you to be able to saturate your muscles. It's going to prep that energy system that you're going to be using. You're going to be a more explosive, hence I use the non-scientific term. You're going to be more explosive. You're going to be a more powerful, a stronger athlete because of the creatine usage.
And so some of the other benefits that we've taken, recap, and then there's some other benefits we haven't even talked about, but it's going to help with recovery. It's going to help improve performance. Will improve performance. It's going to speed up the muscle building process if that is your goal and you are doing the things that it takes to build muscle. It has cognitive benefits. It's neuroprotective. There's recent studies out about how it will protect against concussions and it will help you recover from concussions sooner. So hello,
Light bulb.
Let's go, rodeo athletes. And fighting it along those lines, it suggests, the study suggests that it could fight neurodegenerative
like dementia and
too,
stuff
like
like
dementia,
that.
Alzheimer's, Parkinson's disease. Yeah, all of those.
I'm gonna double up on my servings.
Yeah, you. They don't make shit strong enough for you, my man.
Hey, what about, you talked about dosage, but then like timing. Is timing relevant? Do you have a specific time that you take it?
It's splitting hairs, but post-workout would be optimal for muscle building. But if you're not interested in muscle building, just whenever you can take it consistently.
Yeah, and I think even if you are interested, the most important thing is that you take it every day. And so wherever you're going to be consistent with it, I've taken it for a couple of years now, and I put it in, it's flavorless. And so I dump it in my coffee in the morning because I'm going to drink coffee every morning, no matter where I'm at, on the road, at home. I just dump it in my coffee, and then I know that I've had it for the day because sometimes I have a protein shake after a workout. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I do that. Like, it's always, I know that I'm going to be inconsistent if I just don't hit it first thing in the morning. So wherever you can be consistent with it, I think is the most important.
I will add to that before everybody goes dumping it in their coffee, is the only known side effect is that if it is taken with creatine, some people, not everybody, but some people will experience gastrointestinal issues. So if you put coffee or creatine in your coffee,
isn't that normal? Isn't that normal?
It's not normal. It's not normal. So if you put creatine in your coffee and then you go to the bathroom about 3.5 minutes later, probably don't do that again.
Just spread it.
Yeah, that's a really good thing to think about. Like, your body gives you signals, whether it's liking something or not. And like Logan said, isn't that normal for everyone? No, that actually is not normal for everybody. And you should not be having that. Pay attention to that kind of stuff. If you've been taking a supplement for a long time and that's the side effect you're having, we should probably readjust and reassess what we're putting in the body, because your body's probably not liking that much. Let's jump into Logan's favorite supplement, caffeine.
Heyo.
Everyone loves caffeine, especially this time of year. People, you live, breathe, eat, sleep with caffeine. It just mentioned 23 hours on the road one way, so that's 46 hours in the truck in 48 hours total. So
there was some caffeine had in that truck.
Yeah, there was some caffeine had. I think it goes without saying, boost your energy, boost your focus, makes you more alert, can enhance physical performance by, I believe this is true, making it seem, can make it feel easier. It makes you feel like you're not exerting as much.
And pain perception. Yep.
Timing and dosage. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was just going to say, interesting fact, Midol, the pill that women take when they're on their periods, it has like ibuprofen or Tylenol and caffeine, because the caffeine helps the pain perception.
Yep. It's one of the best hangover cures ever is Midol, because of that, because of the Tylenol and caffeine together. Those two things fix hangovers. Just for all you people listening, never tried it, just read it on a book one time. Dosage for caffeine. I think for an adult, full-grown person, we're talking anywhere 200, 300 milligrams of caffeine, I think is appropriate. You could probably even step into that 400 milligrams. Biggest thing here, which is the hardest thing about rodeoing, is it is not really advisable to take that big of a dosage of caffeine late in the day, because it is going to affect your sleep in a large way. What we don't think about, or what's not really talked about a lot, is like the half-life of caffeine. How long does it stay in your system once you put it in there?
8 hours.
It is a long time.
I just saw another study that actually suggests 9.
Really?
So, I just saw another study that suggested it was traditionally, it's been thought that it stays in your system for 8, but 9 hours. So if the perf's at 7:00 and at 5:30 or 6 p.m., you have 300 milligrams of caffeine at 6 p.m., we're looking at another, 3 a.m.? before the effects of caffeine are wearing off. And so you could go to sleep before I can drink a cup of coffee and go take a nap.
But
The
it affects
heart
how
rate's going to be elevated
Yes.
because the caffeine's still in your system, which means the quality of sleep that you're getting is going to be much lower. And we know that we need sleep for we're being able to recover, right? The growth hormone that's secreted in deep sleep, being able to repair tissues and hormones, not to mention all the things that actually take place cognitively while we sleep. So that's where it can be an issue, is the timing on it. You got a 5-hour drive home, and when you pound 300 milligrams of a Monster or something like that, that's probably going to affect your sleep once you do get to wherever you're staying for the night.
Absolutely. And this is going to mess up your routine a little bit. But if you're in the summer routine and you're rodeoing hard, you're used to going to bed late and hopefully getting up a little bit later than you normally would. And if you're not, we said it before, try and plug a nap in. Like, make it part of your schedule to try and get more sleep. So you can, sleep is the number one supplement, y'all. It's free. And it is the king. It will fix more than most of these things will combined. So focus on that sleep. And just realize, if you are going to drink caffeine late at night, it's part of the deal. We get it. Your rodeo and perf starts at 7. You got to do your deal. Just know that if you repetitively do that, it will wear on you eventually, right? You have to manage that. And also the effects that it takes, you build a tolerance to it. So if you're hitting 300 milligrams of caffeine a day, you do that for a couple of weeks, it does not affect you the same. It's just kind of things to think about that way as well. If you want it to work the best, having little breaks with it will be good for your body and also good for the effects. You'll feel a lot more. Anything else on caffeine, guys? I think we've talked about that supplement a lot. What about, this is one of my favorites to talk about, is beta-alanine. And it's not my favorites because I just know a shit ton about it. It's one of my favorites because everyone's, wow, I take a pre-workout and they're like, why is my face so itchy? Like, everything is so itchy. I love it. That's just the beta-alanine that they put in it. Beta-alanine is used for a couple different reasons. First thing I can think about is it reduces muscle fatigue. It's buffering your lactic acid in the muscle, so it's increasing that threshold of lactate that your body can have or take on. This is also really important in high intensity exercises or competition or whatever, because again, we're dealing with this lactate threshold when we're accumulating that feeling of that burning. When you've done sprints on a bike or anything like that, 10-second, 15-second sprints. Oh, I guess 10 seconds is probably about right. And first 5 seconds are great. Sometimes you get to 8, 9, 10, you're like, what is happening to me? My legs are burning, right? Beta-alanine can help buffer that, can help get you through that peak. And again, it's one thing I hear from most people they enjoy about a lot of pre-workouts is the itchy, but I also hear people that hate it. And I am one of those people that does not enjoy it. So
I can't handle it. I thought I accidentally took a C4 one time, like one of the energy drinks, and not accidentally. I knew what I had drank, but like I bought it and I'm like, I'll give this a shot. And I drove. I'm telling you, I was driving like 40 miles later. I was like, this must be what it's like to have bath salts. I want to scratch my face off. I literally wanted to. Like,
I remember I bought one at a gas station one time, and this old lady that was checking me out, she was like, "Are those pretty good?" And I'm like, "Yeah, but I'm not going to recommend it to everybody." It's got beta-alanine in it, so your skin feels like it's going to fall off. But no, beta-alanine is cool. No, definitely not. Beta-alanine is cool though. One of the first I'd taken it in pre-workouts for a long time. And then in college, I found a study that talked about soccer players, and they supplemented with creatine and beta-alanine. And they played the entire season. So the study was the season long. And you would expect that as the season goes, fatigue sets in and performance would decline throughout the season. That was the case with the control group, but with the group that took beta-alanine and creatine, they were actually stronger, faster. All metrics that they measured went up at the end of the season than versus the control, where they went down. So,
wow, that's pretty interesting.
Yeah,
I think that's really cool to think about, because in sport, in season, they are doing these skills that they're testing essentially, because that's what they want to make them better at. And if they're recovering properly, those supplements are helping them increase. They're literally working out the entire season. Mm-hmm. And so it only makes sense if the proper recovery.
It's helping manage the recovery.
Yeah. And so they're getting better as they play, which is the freaking goal. That's what we want. And there's so many people out there I see that, we worked out all preseason. Like, it's see you at the gym next after the season. And you're leaving so much on the table. You're literally pissing away everything you did. I'm not going to dive down all the residuals, and we've done all that of training. But you guys got to train in season, and that's a really cool study to hear about that. With proper recovery techniques and supplementation, you can get better while in season, and that's what we're looking for here. So that's cool. I like that. Good ad there, Paul. What about dosage there? I think it's 2 to 5 grams a day, and they advise splitting it into smaller doses throughout the day. So thinking about that, I'm not.
I think most pre-workouts have 2.
Yeah, 2 grams.
Yeah, most pre-workouts have 2.5 or 3
Okay.
grams.
So I know personally,
you guys
I'm not someone that would be consistent taking it multiple times a day. There's no way. So
do you guys
I
use
did
pre-workout before a workout? Just while we're on this subject, do you guys use pre-workout before?
No.
Sometimes. I haven't in a long time, but I used to a lot.
I used to too in college and stuff, but it made me sick, man. It made me too excited, and I'd use it a lot before I got on. It'd make me puke almost every time right before I'd get on, just because the adrenaline, everything's pumping. It just did not settle me well. And honestly, my mental space was not good when I took it, getting on bucking horses. I was way too flighty. I couldn't focus on shit. So it just was never really good for me. And so I found if I have anything, it's a cup of coffee. And once I get moving for 5 minutes, regardless, I feel good. I'm ready to go. I just kind of know that even if I feel like garbage, once I warm up, I'll feel good.
I always tell guys, like, the least amount you can get away with before a workout or before a rodeo, the better. Like, just some people really pre-workout and they need it. And that's all well and good until you're working out after work of an evening at 7:30 at night, and it's going to wreck your sleep for the night too. So the least amount you can get away with, the better. I haven't used pre-workout in years, and I tend to stay away from it. Don't get me wrong. I definitely over-caffeinate. Just not before a workout or a rodeo.
No, it just never.
But
when I was
you could use beta
much
alanine if you're if you're used to taking a pre-workout and you want to feel like that elatedness, that's where you could use beta alanine. Just plug beta alanine in and you'll still feel that feeling because your skin will tingle. But you can get just plain beta alanine supplements and you'll have the same psychological effect of like feeling more awake and ready without the caffeine. So you won't
good call.
It won't keep you awake.
There are stimulant pre-workouts, and I know they do put beta alanine in those, B12, things like that you can get without the caffeine. That, again, you'll feel good, and it's a good, easy way to decrease your caffeine intake, but also keep that pre-workout ritual going, because I know a lot of people like the routine of it. Let's get into recovery, guys. We talk about this a lot, but I'm going to kick it off with protein powder. This is right now, especially in season, y'all, this is a great supplement to have on deck. The biggest thing I'm going to say is, we'll talk about what it does. Everyone knows it helps you grow muscle, helps you recover, but the ingredients, like Logan was talking about, what's going to be in those proteins, make sure that you're finding something with simple ingredients. There should not be a lot of things in there. But in a time where nutrition is off, we're not able to cook our own meals every single time, it's awesome to have a quality protein source on deck that you can just drink and ensure that you are getting at least closer to your protein goals for the day. What else you guys got?
Like you said, the quality of the protein is extremely important, and it's handy to have. But again, like all of these things they're supplements. If you can get your daily protein through Whole Foods, that's ideal, but that just doesn't happen on the road. And what I love about a protein powder, especially if you mix it with a carbohydrate powder, right? Carbs have gotten they've gotten a bad rap, but we need carbs they're going to shuttle the protein to the muscles, right? For recovery. And so mixing some carbohydrates in with or having some form of carbohydrates in with your protein powder post workout or post ride is helpful. And there's a couple ways in which you can do that. There's like First Form has the Ignition Stack, which is it's a carbohydrate powder. There's other carbohydrate powders out there that you can get, but I utilize it, even not competing. I utilize that post workout. And a lot of times you'll see different ratios but like a 1-to-1 is probably okay. I usually err on the side of a little bit higher, 1-to-2. I might, maybe not quite 1-to-2, but maybe 30 grams of protein,
1 carb, 2 protein,
anywhere from 30 to 40, 50 grams of carbohydrates in that mix. But it's gonna help shuttle that protein powder and when we're in high intensity exercise, whether it's a rodeo, whether it's a workout, what we're utilizing the energy system there. A lot of times we're using that glycogen, right? We're using glycogen, which is stored in the muscle, It's just broken down carbohydrates that are stored in the muscle there. So by inducing having carbohydrates post workout, you're going to replenish that store in the muscles and be able to stock it back up. So it's extremely important for endurance athletes, which we don't typically work with. And however, but even for anaerobic athletes, utilizing a quality protein powder and a quality carbohydrate powder post rodeo, post workout is something that can definitely increase that recovery.
Yep. Good explanation of that. That was perfect. Bottom line, protein is going to help repair the muscles post-exercise, post-competition. There are a few different kinds of protein out there. The first three I can think of are whey, casein, and some kind of plant-based. I see a lot of pea, soy protein, and there's all kinds of stuff out there when it comes to plant protein. But whey and casein, just really quickly, casein is going to be a much more slow digesting protein than the whey protein, right? Meaning the body is going to take longer to absorb it, to break it down. It can also keep you fuller longer. So a lot of times when you see like meal replacement type protein supplements, things that are meant to actually replace a full meal, you'll see they use casein because of that effect, that it will keep you fuller for longer. A lot of times you drink whey protein and you're full for about 10 minutes and then you're starving again, right? Or maybe that's just my own experience with it. But just something to think about when we're shopping for proteins. And also if you have any intolerances, like there are other options, lots of good plant-based options out there for you. If you can't have whey, can't have casein. But we've also found a lot of times you're having a bad reaction from the protein because of the quality of the supplement. So when we were working with First Form, we learned about heat process, cold process proteins, what essentially is happening during the production of all this. And heat processing is a much faster process. They get the end product quicker, but they are heating all of the ingredients up to a point where the chemical compounds, it changes what it essentially is, what the actual raw ingredient is. And so when that enters the body, it has adverse effects sometimes. Go ahead, Paul.
I think it was low heat and high heat. So like a lot of companies, they'll use the high heat because it's like you're cooking it fast. It's like the pressure cooker, whereas low heat is like the slow cooker, and you're gonna keep more of the structure of the protein when it's used in the low heat processing.
Yeah, and so like just really quick examples. We've had clients tell us they've had bad reactions to whey protein. They try a higher quality whey protein that we've recommended, and they don't have the same effects. So that's always a fun thing to find out is, hey, dude, it wasn't that you have an intolerance to this. It's that the quality was just poor. But then again, we've also had clients take multiple kinds of whey and nope, okay, then that is not for you. We need to find other ways. And the best way, again, is going to be food. But if we can't do that, this is a great supplement and a great thing to have on deck. I don't have any good recommendations for plant proteins. I need to do some more research on that. So if anyone listening has any questions about plant protein, go ahead, Logan.
Hemp, brand wise, I don't know, but like hemp protein and pea protein are going to be superior to soy. But beyond protein. That, I don't really know much either. Yeah, cricket protein.
Hey, have you guys had crickets? Crickets are good. I had crickets in Mexico one time. They're actually really good.
That was the worm at the end of the tequila bottle.
It wasn't a worm. It wasn't a worm. When they had some sort of like lime salt on them, I'm telling you.
Oh, I bet they probably were good.
But all proteins aren't created equal, is another thing to think about. And like animal protein, studies are going to show if you can tolerate animal protein, it is far superior to plant protein. And the way the casein is going to be the way to go, no pun intended. If your stomach can tolerate, that's definitely by far going to be the direction that you want to go with your protein powder.
This is the way.
This is the way.
Let's get into, this is my favorite supplement, but electrolytes. LMNT is my go-to. So I'm going to use them as an example a lot because I take them twice a day. I take 2 sticks of it a day, and I feel big differences when I do not take it. And I think this is one of the areas that, not even just as rodeo athletes, but as a population as a whole, we are missing the boat on electrolytes because I would say majority of us walk around dehydrated. We're not drinking enough water. I actually did not realize how many people despise drinking solely water until I got into this coaching game, which kind of blows my mind a little bit because I guess just I know how I feel when I don't drink enough water and I don't feel good. And I've seen some wild things happen with athletes being dehydrated, leading like things like seizures, like wild stuff. And it's as simple as not having enough sodium, magnesium, and potassium in your body. And that's something that we have 100% control over. And so an electrolyte supplement is something that I highly recommend to anybody through everyday life, but especially during the summer run when you guys, girls, are rodeoing hard or working out in the fields, working in pastures, working on the ranch, whatever it is, construction, like anything. Electrolytes are going to help everybody. And I know sodium has gotten a bad rap. I thought this was actually really funny. I was having a conversation with someone the other day, and they see that I drink 2, sometimes 3 LMNTs a day. That's 3,000 milligrams of sodium a day. And they're like, your sodium's going to be so high. I don't know how you do that. And I'm like, no, you don't understand. Like, you need, at a minimum, I think 2,000 milligrams of sodium a day. I recommend that to pretty much every
2,500 is the
baseline. And if you're not eating foods that are ultra processed with all that sodium added to it, you are not getting hardly any sodium in your diet unless you're cooking with it. And that's something I didn't realize. So a year ago, I had blood work done. And I was eating really clean. I wasn't taking any kind of supplement. Blood work looked great. Sodium was super low. And my doc's like, hey, man, like, what do you eat every day? What's it look like? Tell him. He's like, are you taking any, like, you need to be having sodium supplements. So he recommended LMNT to me. I started taking that. Felt good. So I've been taking 2,000 to 3,000 milligrams a day for the last year. Just had my blood work done last week. 100% good to go. Like, perfect sodium levels. And we've got to get that kind of bad talk out of there. It's like carbs, the bad mantra that carbs had, right? Sodium has had that same thing. Sodium is going to raise your blood pressure and make you fat and all these things. Like, this is just not true. It's just not true. When we eat 10,000 milligrams of sodium a day, maybe that's not good for us. But for someone that is eating whole foods.
And then you develop hypertension, and then you can't have more than 2,500 milligrams a day, or else it backfires. But for healthy people, 2,500 is what keeps you out of a deficit. Like, you need to a minimum of 2,500.
And athletes, especially endurance athletes, if you're sweating a lot, aka you guys and girls rodeoing right now, that I just watched you in Weatherford 2 weeks ago, and you were absolutely drenched, up to 5,000 milligrams of sodium can be had. So that's a lot of salt that you can have and that your body essentially needs, right? So I had really badass notes pulled up, and then they all went away. So let me see if I can find them again, because I didn't want to botch.
While you're looking for those, the diet thing is important to look at. So if you're not currently reading your nutrition labels and mindful of the things that you're putting in your body, start to understand the sodium content before you go supplementing with sodium. So if you're eating fast food 1 to 2 times a day, you're probably getting enough sodium. You should probably change your diet, but you're probably getting enough sodium. So you don't need to add on top of that. But if you are eating a strictly whole foods diet where you're cooking every ounce of food that you eat, you are probably not getting enough sodium unless you're supplementing with it. Because even if you're salting your food to taste, 2,500 milligrams is not, you're not going to salt your food like that.
No. Oh God. Could you imagine? I could. No, that would be terrible. So
yeah, because I've tried it. I've experimented with it.
Oh, that's hilarious. Okay. So the notes that I had, I wanted to look it up off of LMNT's website. So they have a ton of resources, a lot of information out there about their product and why they make it the way they do. So I'm just going to read directly from their site about why they put certain amounts of sodium, magnesium, potassium in each one and what each one is responsible for. So the sodium, I said it's 1,000 milligrams of sodium, which is, like we said also before, it's an essential mineral for the body. Most of us need it a lot more than we think we do. And a couple of the reasons are, first, we lose a ton of sodium when we sweat. So like we were just saying, you're out there in the heat, you're working hard, or you're working out hard, you can lose several grams of sodium when training, when competing, especially in those hot and humid climates. Oh, this is even better. So they've talked to professional athletes, trainers. They often log up to 10 grams of sodium loss in hard practices or games. 10 grams. We're talking about taking 1,000 milligrams. Like we don't realize how much we're losing of that. And there's no way to really test that without blood work. So it's not right there in front of our face after every time we compete. We're like, oh, look at all that sodium on us. But actually, isn't that what like the white rings on your shirt when they dry are? Is the salt coming out of you? Pretty much, so you can see it on your shirt. You guys ever had that? Like you read like a shirt?
Yeah. It happens on all my caps. in the summertime.
Yeah.
You get that white ring and stain across your ball caps.
Yeah, absolutely. So you can see it right there, which is something we just, again, don't think about it that much. They talk about balanced diets lacking in sodium, and we hammered on that right from the beginning. Processed foods contribute to about 70% of U.S. American sodium intake. That's wild. So if you ditch the processed foods, you're going to be having a lot less sodium. So you're going to have to manage that and increase that through supplementation or, again, through how you're cooking. Talks about to increase sodium intake on diets, which can cause rapid sodium loss. So low-carb diets, especially keto diets, minimize the body's production of insulin. Consequently, your kidneys excrete sodium at an increased rate. They talk about fasting minimizes insulin similarly to low-carb diets, causing rapid urinary loss of sodium. In addition, you don't consume any sodium via food during a fast. So we are just dumping sodium out of our bodies. So especially if you're on a diet like keto, fasting for long amounts of time. Wow, your words being hard is rubbing off on me, Paul. Quit it. You've got to be implementing sodium into your diets if you're on one of these, what's the word I'm looking for? Restrictive diets. Let's see here.
Potassium and magnesium. So
Yeah.
were you still going to go into those?
No,
I was just recommendations.
Yeah, do the food
diets.
recommendations for it. That's perfect.
Yeah, so like for potassium, we often think of bananas for being high in potassium. Sweet potatoes are going to be your other big mover there for potassium intake. So if you're not eating bananas or sweet potatoes on a regular basis, you can include those in your diet to help with the electrolyte balance. And then for magnesium, a lot of the foods are congruent with like healthy fats. So like avocados, nuts, almonds, walnuts, cashews, stuff like that. Those are going to be higher in magnesium.
That is awesome to know. One last thing about sodium. They found 2011 study shows that 4 to 6 grams of sodium per day was the sweet spot for minimizing heart attacks and stroke risk in general population, which is, again, that's something that's not said. All you hear is about the negative effects of sodium, not the fact that you should be taking 4 to 6 grams of sodium per day in order to prevent heart attack and stroke risk. So just a little side note. We were talking about potassium, Paul. What does potassium do for the body?
Well, it's one of the things that's like big on the electrolyte balance. As far as what it actually does, I'm not really sure. I know it's an essential nutrient, micronutrient, but I think it is really the big thing there is the electrolyte balance, and that has to do with maintaining your hydration status.
Reducing blood pressure. People with high blood pressure, it obviously could be genetic reasons, but also could be inadequate amounts of potassium being consumed through diet. And a really good way, again, to get this is through a supplement like LMNT.
That's interesting. That begs the question. I don't know for sure. I'd have to look into that, but maybe that has to do with being low in potassium and having a high sodium diet is what causes higher blood pressure. So like you need both electrolytes to balance each other out.
I just looked it up, and it does reduce the effect of sodium on your blood pressure rate. So that's why they mix the two together. And then another really cool thing about it is it allows your nerves to respond to stimulation and your muscles to contract.
Yeah.
You want better mind-muscle connection, your nervous system to operate better. Even in your heart, you need potassium.
Yeah. So its primary role is the electrolyte effect. Yeah.
Yep.
Cool.
That's
now
good information. And standard American diet is why only 20 to 40% of Americans achieve their daily adequate levels of potassium. So if we're eating normal American foods, we are definitely lacking in our potassium. Again, just proves to show like you have to pay attention to what you're eating. And if you're not eating enough of these things, you need to be adding a quality supplement to it. The third thing in LMNT is magnesium. They put 60 milligrams of magnesium in there. And so magnesium is important because it aids in energy production, DNA repair, muscle synthesis, helps when you sleep. I know a lot of sleep supplements have some kind of magnesium in them, right? There's not just one kind of magnesium. There's multiple kinds. That is something I'm not going to dive into because I'm just not that educated on the multiple different kinds of them. But so energy production, DNA repair, muscle synthesis, restful sleep, like those are all things that we really care about, especially as athletes. Yet, it said that up to 30% of the population may be deficient in magnesium, which when we start looking about all this, it's the main problem, I believe, is standard American diet. If we're eating processed foods constantly, we're not getting the proper amounts of electrolytes that we need. What's something else here? It talks about evidence suggests that our ancestors consumed about 600 milligrams of magnesium per day. Between 400 to 6 milligrams seems to be a reasonable target for optimal health. And there's no downside to shooting for the upper end of that range. We talked about getting magnesium-rich foods, whole foods first, and then adding a supplement, just like we talked about with everything else. Tyler, will you look up some magnesium-rich foods really quickly?
I found the full list of foods. So pumpkin seeds, chia seeds, any dark leafy greens, the nuts like I was talking about. So almonds, cashews, black beans, edamame beans, brown rice, salmon, halibut, and avocado.
There's lots of options there.
Yeah. That, and because I was questioning that when you said like our ancestors, dark leafy greens, nuts and nuts and avocados and stuff like that. Okay. There's definitely a good mix of foods there that you can add in.
I love it. So those are the 3 ingredients in LMNT. That is what you're going to see and find in most electrolyte supplements. Again, the biggest thing I think here is the dosage of each. You will see a lot of electrolyte supplements have 100 milligrams of sodium, 60 milligrams of potassium, and 10 milligrams of magnesium, whatever, and it's just not enough to properly affect the body. I will say, if you get LMNT, it is saltier than hell. There's no doubt about it. It's going to taste salty. So mix a half a packet with a regular size bottle. If you're going to use a full packet, I recommend 32-ounce bottle. You're still going to taste the salt, but it's great. It works well. It's extremely convenient. You take it anywhere with you. And it's been all over the world with me. I take it everywhere. So if you're not taking an electrolyte supplement, highly recommend it, especially if you are in a scenario where you're sweating a lot.
Have you guys had the ready-to-drink ones yet in a can?
I haven't yet. I really want the sparkling ones because that seems like my jam. Hui has the best gear because it's tough. It's durable. It withstands the test of what we put it through. And that is why I am a big supporter of Hui brands. Guys, from hats, apparel, whatever you need, they've got you covered. They are the perfect blend of rodeo style and athletic performance. You can check them out at huibrands.com. Use our discount code ChampionLiving, all one word, is going to save you a little bit at checkout. Here's the deal. Lots of rodeo gear companies are coming out, but not all are equal. Beastmaster is really setting the bar when it comes to the equipment that is built for durability and designed for success in the arena. You guys can check them out at beastmasterrodeo.com. Use our discount code ChampionLiving24. That's ChampionLiving24. Going to save you a little bit at checkout.
Can I throw in a bonus supplement that we don't usually talk about that I've been messing with for quite a while, and some more research is coming out? It's called HMB, and there's been limited amount of research, right? So like we were talking about with adaptogens earlier, where there's limited amount of research, but the reason that it stuck out to me is that the research that has been done on HMB is it's been used for people that have had some sort of injury and have been forced into a sedentary lifestyle. And it's really shown their ability to maintain muscle mass without the presence of continued resistance training. And so it's definitely not a miracle drug or supplement that somebody can take that's going to keep you jacked if you don't work out for a year. However, like I read a couple studies about it and just helping people maintain muscle mass. And one of the ways in which it's typically given is actually to older individuals and helping maintain muscle mass in elderly people. But my thought had been,
that's why you're taking it.
Yeah, for sure. I am getting old. But I think about the modern rodeo athlete, and this time of year, their inability. What happens this time of year? They're not eating real great. They're not working out as consistently as they could. And even if we are working out, we're not lifting weight. Everybody, typically speaking, is going to lose weight over the course of the summer. It's never perfect when we lose weight. We always lose muscle as well as body fat. And so with that being said, if we can maintain as much muscle mass through the end of the season as possible, and it's similar to creatine in that it's not as anywhere near as researched as creatine, but it is pretty inexpensive. You can get, and it's just one ingredient, right? HMB. It's pretty hard to mess up. And so $20-$30 a month. And it's something that you can, in fact, I started, and shortly after I started, I read a research study. I'm like, man, I think that would be good for athletes. So I was like, all right, I'm going to be the test dummy myself. A company came out with, I think Natural Labs, or I can't remember the name of the company. They came out with a creatine HMB mix. And so I would probably stay away from something that's pre-mixed, but there are companies out there starting to utilize it, and there's more and more research done on it all the time. And I think for a rodeo athlete, it's same thing as creatine, flavorless, and it's 3 milligrams a day, and you can put it in whatever you're going to put your creatine in. I think that it could, over the long term, the course of the summer, help maintain muscle mass. So we're not like going back to square one when we get ready to come into October, get ready for circuit finals, NFR, IFR, whatever it might be that we're prepping through the off season for. Anyway, it's just something that I've been utilizing for about 2 years now. And I think I've been slowly starting to give it to guys. And I think it's something that can help them.
Cool. Check it out. I know we've talked about that a couple times over the last couple of years since you started taking it. It's pretty affordable too. I know that you can get it on Amazon. What was the dosage on it?
It's 3 milligrams a day is pretty much, I think the study I saw, they took anywhere ranging from 3 to 6, but 3 milligrams is enough. And so it's a thing, it comes in 100 doses per canister. Sweet. And it's $25 or something like that. So It's definitely something that's affordable.
Cool. Love it. And on that same line of like injury-ish type stuff, let's talk about some joint pain and things like that. Fish oil is going to be my number one thing that I take. I've been on fish oil since we got turned on to it through First Form a few years back. And biggest effects of a fish oil for your body is it's going to help reduce inflammation and help support your joint health, also your heart health. One thing that we see a lot of supplements mess up on is it needs to have EPA and DHA fish oils in it in order for it to be effective. And a lot of times you go to the store and you see all these fish oil supplements, however many milligrams, whatever, and you look at it and it is just one of those kinds, or the quality is just not good. Mm-hmm. So you need to be aware of that. If you're taking a fish oil supplement, make sure it has both of those kinds in there.
If you grab the cheapest one off the shelf, it's probably only got one, because you can get them for like as low as $8 or something. But that's what you're going to run into, is you're not getting EPA and DHA, you're getting one.
1,000%, man. And again, you get what you pay for. Mm-hmm. When it comes to supplements, really anything in life. If you're paying the bottom dollar, you're going to get the bottom quality product. It's just how it goes. So putting things into your body, I highly suggest going above and beyond the bottom line and looking more towards the upper part. But again, don't just do it because it's expensive. Do your research, look it up. If you have questions, send us the questions. We'll do our best to help you out and give you our opinions about it. Today the whole thing has been filled with, there's not a lot of studies. And I feel like that's almost everything in the supplement world. That was CBD 5 years ago, 10 years ago. There was all of these CBD would just come out. Tons of the word on the street was that it had all these great effects. It can help you sleep. It can help reduce inflammation. It has cancer properties. The list goes on. And everyone said, oh, it's a hoax. It's part of this marijuana plant. There's no way that's going to work. And now we look 10 years down the road, and there are endless amounts of scientific research showing the benefits of CBD, right? A lot of these we're going to see the same thing for a lot of these supplements, I think. There just hasn't been enough time, enough studies put into them to prove what they actually do. And on top of that, the groups that they're testing probably haven't been that big, right? So their findings that they're getting are on very small population sizes, which in all reality doesn't help us out very much when it comes to figuring out if it's actually going to be beneficial for people to take. Power Pro is something that I've plugged into my recovery routine in a big way. I talked about the other day, I tweaked my knee or that quad, and dude, I put that on for 3 days and did my manual manipulation on it and everything I was supposed to, and the thing, it's brand new. It feels great. Their tinctures go under 2 droppers under the tongue every night before I go to sleep. My REM sleep has increased dramatically. Been tracking on the Whoop. It works. It's great. You guys can check out Power Pro, pwrpro.com. Use our discount code Champion Living, all one word. Going to save you, I think it's 20% at discount. It's a badass discount. So if you guys are having any questions or any things like that, having trouble sleeping, relaxing, like stress levels, CBD is great for that. Anxiety, dude, holy smokes. We've talked a couple of times, been like, we all have our little anxious spells where life just happens. You get a little anxious. And that's the one thing that I use every time, day or night, like goes under the tongue, and within 5 minutes, I feel better.
Mm-hmm. I've been adding that into my daily routine too. And I do one drop during the day, sometime about midday. And that's been a game changer. And then one drop right before I go to bed, and my ability to fall asleep has dramatically increased.
Dude, it's awesome. It really is. All natural. They do a great job. I went to go tour the facility where they make it. They send it to third-party testing facilities to make sure that it is the purest form possible.
And you can find those reports on their website too.
Yes, that's the best part. It is fully transparent.
Yep.
So there's no, but where did this come from? Or but that, it's all there for you to see. And that was the whole point. I know when Casey made this was to be transparent and to show the consumer this is what you're actually getting and putting in your body, and this can be trusted.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing that like sums up our conversation that we've had today, is that there is no FDA regulation on supplements. And so if the four of us, including Tyler, even though he doesn't talk much, wanted to start our own supplement company, we could hire. There are companies out there that will be like, what do you want to make? We want a Champion Living pre-workout. Okay, cool. And what do you want in it? And we're like, I don't know. What's typically in a pre-workout? And they're like, here's the ingredients. Do you have a logo? We can use the Champion Living logo. Okay. They'll design it. They'll canister it. We could have a crate of it sitting in my back steps in 30 days. If we know the right people and market it well enough, we're selling it at Beastmaster. We can get it on the shelf at Walmart, right? Like, I'm not putting out a supplement because I don't know enough about it to feel confident at this stage of the game to be able to put out supplements, but anybody can do it. And so with that being said, you typically get what you pay for when it comes to supplements, and looking for supplements that are third-party tested, that are tested outside the company that makes them, and making sure that you are doing your due diligence, reading labels, doing some research papers or reading some research, even summaries of research, and just not impulse buying whatever somebody tells you is going to make you huge. That's very important. So take even what we've said with a grain of salt. Do the research.
That impulse buy is what I see most typically happen with people, because they think that they see a benefit listed on a label and they think that this is the new fix that's finally going to get them where they want to be. Yep. And so they'll impulse buy and they'll hop around from supplement regimen to supplement regimen. And at the end of the day, that's the fastest way to burn through your pocketbook.
Yeah.
Yep. And marketing these days is excellent. So just be careful. And I'm not throwing shit at anybody here, but for instance, Bucked Up is a supplement company that has blown up over the last year or two, which I think is great. They've done great things for rodeo athletes and for the sport, but it is one of the supplement lines I've heard the most complaints about feeling really bad after you take them. And so you just have to be aware of what's going in them and if those things are actually going to be good for you. Again, I've never done the research on it. I do not know what's in Bucked Up, but I've heard stories about their pre-workout popping at TSA check when they swab it, which I don't know what the deal, like multiple times, not just one, like a once and one off. It was like multiple people have said that. I've had one guy multiple times has had it happen, got a can, got it taken away. I was like, oh, that was just a freak deal. Got it again. They swapped it again, took it again. And then I had a client, a female client actually, was taking their pre-workout, and she was saying that her mood was off, like extremely irritable after, pissed off, not feeling good, and could not figure it out for weeks, and then stopped taking the pre-workout, and that was it. So again, I'm not throwing any rocks here. I don't know. That's what I've heard through the grapevine about it. So I don't know about their testing. I don't know about any of it. Just be careful about where you're getting your products and not falling for just a marketing scheme, because 98% of the things out there are just marketing schemes and people just want to make money, which is just the way the world is.
That's exactly right. I don't want to beat a dead horse here, but there's a miracle supplement that you can take, and it is 100% free, and you will recover better, you will build more muscle, you will perform better than anything. It's Tren ain't free. This one's free. Completely 100% free, and it's called Sleep. If you would like to win at whatever athletic pursuit it is, or just work out to feel better, look good, athletic performance, be consistent, eating real food, consistently moving weight in the weight room, and consistently getting sleep for years, and you'll get where you're going. There is no miracle combination of supplements that you're going to take that are going to get you there so much faster. You have to do the basics over and over again to get there.
To wrap on supplements. Hell yeah. No, that was good. I hopefully you listeners out there took away something from this. Sorry, we're not totally fluent in all of the things, magnesium, potassium, but I think you guys got the gist of it. And again, if you have any questions, holler at us. We flipped the script of how we've been doing the shows. We want to get you guys the information first, and we're going to be catching up at the end. Also, I want to put a little note out there. I know that not everyone likes advertisements on shows. I get it. I hate ads. But that being said, if they come up on this show, you can fast forward through them if you don't like them. You don't have to stop listening. You don't have to wait for them to go. You can fast forward right through. But without them, the show's not possible. I'm saying that only from terms of looking at the numbers of our show. And I've noticed a little bit of a change in when we were adding advertisements in and when listeners would stop listening. And I just want you to know you can 100% fast forward through them. But also, the ads that we put on are all things that we use and believe in and have been beneficial to us. And they're good deals. Like it's not just like, oh, here's a 5% off. Like you're getting a solid discount for using it. And it will. Anyways, sorry. I had to get that off my chest.
If you're listening to this and you're like, oh, that was me. He's talking to you.
That was me.
Stop.
Yeah, I'm talking to you. Quit it.
Quit that.
Just fast forward.
Quit.
Just fast forward.
Quit that.
You're missing good information.
Yeah.
But Paul, how's flag football going?
Man, it's good. We won our second game, so.
Any more bloody lips?
No blood this last one.
He says
right out of the gate, the first play, the other team was on offense first, and one of our kids, instead of pulling the flag, freaking tackled the kid. I'm so sorry. I thought we had this down.
We haven't been over this enough.
So no, yeah, flag football is still violent. Yes.
Coach Paul is take out the knees, go for the knees.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
Dude, it's good because I was chatting with you before, and Paul's never done this before. It's not like he's like coached flag football before, so he's like researching, doing all this stuff, and like figuring it out. And then I talked to him before he went to his first game, and I'm nervous. I was like, bro, you're gonna be fine. Those kids don't know. And he was talking about, you're saying like we messed up a couple plays, but it was like my fault.
Yeah,
like it just is what it is. So talk about learning something new at an older age, but you're 30. People shy away from that so much as we get older, I feel.
And they do. And that's why I got put in this position in the first place, was because nobody wanted to step up and everybody wants their kid to play, but nobody wants to coach them. And having the job that I have and doing what I do for a living, it's a no-brainer that I do coach youth sports locally because I can. I have the time. I have the skills. I coach every day. Like now I'm just coaching little kids instead of adults. So it's not like it's totally out of my wheelhouse, but man, yeah, it definitely makes me nervous. But we're doing all right. We're getting it figured out. And I'm ready for this year to be over already, but I'm excited for next year because I feel like now having a little bit of experience behind me, like my preparedness level next year is going to be.
You have a game plan.
Way different.
You know what to expect. That's exactly right. Yeah, you can have a game plan.
All I'm picturing. What's it called? Screaming, kicking,
just kicking and screaming.
Soccer. Yeah. All I'm picturing is like the Rugrat team in the beginning, and then they show up out of the minivan with matching windbreakers and stuff. I can see it right now. Paul just piling out of the caravan.
I watched Ted Lasso when I started to get prepared for this. So if you've never watched Ted Lasso, it's actually a really good series. But he's not for children. He's an American football coach, and he goes and he gets a job coaching soccer in England, and so he knows nothing about it. And that's exactly how I felt. I'm like, okay, I'm already a coach, but I'm stepping into this new realm that I know nothing about, and so I related to that on another level.
Do you guys ever find yourself like, because we coach all day, that it's just part of who you are, and you find yourself coaching in times where you necessarily should not be coaching somebody, and it just bites you in the ass?
Oh, you didn't ask for my advice, but I gave it to you.
I think that's how we gravitate to coaching, and that's how you become coaches. It's a personality trait that you have. You know what I'm saying? Because we're
just let me help you.
We're setting up and tearing down and running a crew of 6 guys, and I find myself like I find myself, I'm just one of the hired hands, but giving it that, setting up and tearing down an arena, it can be dangerous if it's not done in a certain order and things. And we just had a guy break his foot this past weekend because it wasn't done in a proper order. But I found myself like I saw them starting at the wrong place, and I was like, hey, don't do that. I'm telling you, panels are going to fall on somebody and somebody's going to get seriously hurt. We need to go start back here. And so I took them. Sure enough, we got to that spot where they had started at the wrong end. And so I find myself like coaching even on something like setting up an arena and tearing down and trying to like, and anyway, I think that it's just like naturally something we bring to the table at whatever it is that we do. We want to be great at it. We don't just want to just coast through. We don't just want to, we want to be really good at whatever we do. And so like we naturally coach on people whether we should or not. It's just one of those things that it's just sorry. But anyway.
What about the opposite side of the spectrum where people go try something new and think that you're automatically going to be good at it, and when they're not, it's like wheels come off and they can't manage I guess their expectations were different. And I was thinking about when you were talking about to those guys on the crew that you're working with, I'm going to go down an entrepreneurial hole here, but managing your expectations for the situations only helps your leadership ability and your ability to cope with scenarios that are not ideal. And what I mean by that is, say, I will not name the person, but say we go fly fishing, right? First time fly fishing. And you watch your buddies do it. They are really good and you expect to do it that when you pick it up. But you're going to learn very quickly that it's not going to be the case. It is very hard, and you can you usually get so pissed off you just quit. But if you could be real with you
can just say my name.
It wasn't even at you. My secretary's over here. I don't want her to come knife me. But instead, you got to just manage your expectations. Realize that you're going to do something for the first time and that it probably isn't going to be great. And if you're expecting to be really good and catch a shitload of fish the first time, you're going to be very disappointed and then your experience is going to suck. Same thing on if you're leading people. Like oftentimes people think you come off as an asshole, but if you are like, hey, if you start at that end, I'm going to be really upset because you're potentially you're going to get hurt. You don't see that right now, but I do. And it's my fault that you get hurt. So if you start there, I'm going to be pissed. And it's just is what it is. And I'm going to tell you to go work the other side and we're going to have to fix it. It's like there's ways to avoid those. I'm finding that the longer I live and I'm around, it's not necessarily my fault for everything, but my reaction could have been different if I would have explained what I expected of the situation prior, if that makes sense.
No, 100% communication. You know what I'm saying? And that's what we just talked about the other night. After that guy got hurt, we were on our way home, and I was like, sometimes it feels like we're 6 individuals just all here doing our own thing. Everybody knows what needs to be done, so we just start and really there needs to be some communication. Hey, this is what you two are going to do. This is what you two are going to do. This is what you two, and it only happens because we're good at it. We can tear down that whole arena and strap it on a trailer. A gate fell on a guy's foot, broke a foot. We were a man down an hour in, and it took us 2 hours and 1 minute from the time I unpinned the first panel to the time it was strapped down on the trailers. We're good at it, but that's why the better you are at something, the more communication is handy. If we were just meandering around going super slow, it wouldn't matter. But if you want to be good at something, be efficient. In this case, it's 1:30 in the morning and you want to go home. Like, communication is extremely important, no matter what you're doing, coaching flag football, leading a strength and conditioning company, like whatever it might be, or something as simple as setting up and tearing down an arena, being able to communicate, hey, this is what we're doing. But here's the thing too, is and so when you try to do that, a lot of times people are like, what are you even doing right now? You know what I'm saying? There's been times where I've gathered, and hey, we need to stop for just a second and we need to talk about what we're doing. And people are like, what? We need to like say, look, we need to come up with some direction. And it's unfortunately an uncommon thing, I think, in today's day and age to like effectively communicate and come up with a game plan a lot of times. And so it's haste makes waste.
I think
you know what I'm saying? If you don't have time to communicate.
And it turns into an argument. They see it as it could be an argument or I'm not getting the word out of my mouth here, but
confrontation.
Yeah, confrontational, and people avoid that at all costs. And in all reality, it's not confrontational. It's just establishing the expectations. It would actually make life way easier if more people did that. Because on the inside, you ask someone, is this good with you? And they're like, you can see it in their face. It's not really, but they're going to say, yeah, just for the sake of not arguing about it. And their experience is going to be different than what they expected. If we all just got it all out there, it'd be a lot easier. Oh, that was a fun rant. I'm glad we did that. Hey, let's talk about Rodeo for a quick sec here. They're, again, hot and heavy on the Rodeo. Everyone has been going, but there has been one dude. Actually, there's been a few dudes on fire, but I am particularly proud of one of them, Josh Frost. The man is a machine, dude. Like, what? Oh, it fires me up. Gives me chills just talking about it. That 90-point ride that he made the other night where that bull literally did everything but pull a gun on him.
Rank.
So rank. Insane. 90 points. So the guy's been on a heater. What's the actual numbers here? $23,551 in 2 weeks.
Yeah, he won Pecos and he won Springdale, and he might have won something else in between.
I think he just won Cody's Extreme Bulls too.
Cody and
Yeah, so 3 in a row.
Yeah.
Yep.
He went to
And
Pecos
won
to Springdale to Cody.
Oh, finished third place in Greeley at the Extreme Bulls.
Oh man.
So it's cool. I'm fired up for him. Another young gun I want to talk about is Wasey Shala. We just had him on last episode. He just won the all-around at Reno, which fires me up, man. He's someone I think that has a really good chance at winning an all-around world title. And we haven't seen that done. Stetson, yes, but before that it was Ty Murray. It's very few and far between all-around cowboys are solely just rough stock athletes. And so naturally I get excited, and we're big fans of Wasey Shala. So like, I'm fired up for the kid. He is doing some big things, and I think just listening to him and talking with him on that last episode.
He's jumped quite a few positions. Him and some of another one of the guys that's one of our clients that he talked about. Same thing with Cooper, James in the bull riding. That guy's he's been riding all year long. He's been riding between 50 and 60% of his bulls, and he rides broncs really well too. But like that, the guys that are putting in the work are seeing the results right now while it's going. These young guys that Wasey just started back with us, but I've been working with Cooper since he was 16. We knew what was coming the moment he turned 18, and he wanted to be physically ready for it. So I had 2 years to prep with him. But these guys, it's exciting to watch because Cooper's, I think he's ridden like 3 out of his last 4 or 5 bulls. When he was on the Pro Bull Stats, is it the hot list? Is that what they call it? The hot list, he's been on that thing pretty much all spring, riding between 50 and 60% of what he gets on. And some of these young guys, man, I'm telling you, we're going to get to the finals this year and be like, I think there's going to be a bunch of people at the NFR this year, at least in the rough stock events, that haven't been there yet. A lot of these young guys. Like
last year.
Yeah, last year, what did we have, 5 or 6 rookie bareback riders? First time NFR qualifier.
A third of the field.
Yeah. So it's an exciting time.
It's so exciting. Chase Dougherty is riding lights out as well. I am extremely proud of that dude. I've been training him for the last 3 years. He's consistent. He communicates with me, athlete to coach, and he's killing it. So we're talking about these guys, and like the one thing about them is they're all very consistent in their communication with us. They're consistent in the work that they're putting in on the road. And again, right now, dude, we're in maintenance mode, dude. Mobility is pretty much it. When we can, we do work on power a little bit with our body weight stuff, but I'm even at the point now where, like we just said, Josh just got on a bull every day.
Yeah, they're not doing a whole lot.
No, and there's no reason to. Yep. It's not helping us, right? What's going to help them is prioritizing sleep, prioritizing their nutrition, and prioritizing their mobility and getting their body feeling good. Proper dynamic warm-up before they get on. And if they can, a little cool down after, that's probably not going to happen. So that's why those mobility sessions are there in the morning, right? In the beginning. It's about how good he feels after. He knows that he's got to get that done to get that soreness out. So anyone out there, you're rodeoing, you're driving a truck, you're traveling a lot, get moving. It's gonna be the one thing that helps the soreness, gets the fatigue out, and prioritize your sleep and your nutrition above all.
Yep.
And if you're struggling with that, check out those supplements that we talked about on this episode. And if you have more questions beyond that, please reach out to us. Guys, if you're interested in our training at all, please go to our website, championlivingfitness.com. Click the Sign Up Now button. That's going to set up a free consultation. You're going to fill out some questions, give us a little bit of a background about you. You get to pick a coach if you have a certain one in mind for training, and we can get you set up. Again, the consultation is free. There's zero charge. We're going to answer all your questions and give you, honestly, we're going to make sure it's the best option for you. If you are not the right fit for us, we will let you know, and we'll find you another coach that will be a good fit for you. But you'll never know until you reach out, okay? So check that out. And check out the Champion Living Fitness app. We just put up the Mobility Anywhere plan. Guys, you can do this anywhere. It's the best part. It is specifically set up for travel, doing it whenever, wherever. They're taking maybe 20 minutes total to get them done. We've had a lot of people subscribing to that plan and raving about it. My favorite part has been I had a couple of UPS drivers find it and have been loving it, dude. They messaged me and they're like, this is literally made for UPS drivers, bro. Thank you so much.
Funny.
I love it, man. I love it. So check that out. The first week's free. It's free to make an account on the app. And after that, it's anywhere from $9 to $19 a month. There's demo videos. There's full workout plans anywhere from 4 to 8 weeks long. And we are constantly uploading new plans and new demo videos to just give you guys more value and more information. So check that out. Champion Living Fitness. You can search that in the Apple App Store, Google Play Store. And guys, until next time, we'll catch you later. Hey guys, we got some exciting news for you. If you're listening to this, we know that you're committed to upping your game in the arena. And we're teaming up with the Rodeo Now app to help you do just that. The Rodeo Now app allows you to record, upload, and catalog your rides and runs, review your performances in slow motion, and our favorite feature, if you're not familiar with your stock draw, you can search your animal by name to get all the intel you need to make your next ride a winning one. Join the Rodeo Revolution today and download the Rodeo Now app for free. It's available in the Apple App Store and Google Play Store.
If you want to learn more about our coaches and program options, make sure to swing over to our website at www.championlivingfitness.com. You can fill out the Become an Athlete form to set up your free consultation and have all your questions answered by a coach.